Tonight on STN Channel 2 News, Subway in the Conover Campus Center was evacuated on Friday and remained closed for a few days. We have the details on what happened.
And the flu has been spreading around campus, and health services have been taking precautions to keep students healthy.
Plus, it's time to celebrate as the University of Hartford turns 58. We have all the details on how you can join in on the festivities. All that and more coming up. STN Channel 2 News starts right now. Thank you for tuning into STN Channel 2 News. I'm Rachel Sisto.
And I'm Johnny Wade. On Friday, February 6th, workers and students and faculty alike were all evacuated from Conover after water started to pour down from the ceiling. So STN went to find out what happened. The cause of the flooding in Conover this past week was due to a frozen sprinkler head system.
At about 3 o'clock on Friday, we had a sprinkler pipe burst in the Conover campus building near the subway, where the Subway restaurant is.
One of the first people on site were public safety, whose first duty was making sure everyone inside the building was evacuated and alert the fire department. Amongst them was Lieutenant Christopher Lyons.
I walked over from here, got there pretty quickly, and saw a lot of water coming from the pipe, coming from the outside wall, water coming down, water throughout the restaurant, and cascading out into the back patio.
Public safety also wanted to make sure everyone on campus was aware of the event in Conover.
To notify communications, so communications get that information out to our UHART community that there was a problem with the burst pipe. They also let everybody know when the facility is going to reopen. We try to get as much information as we can to allow communications to give that message out.
Along with public safety, RMARC and facilities aided in the cleanup process to ensure the safeness and to reopen Conover.
All three groups were working on this. So, I mean, they got to work on the cleanup pretty quickly. They were able to get the Village Market area back up and running by noon on Saturday. And then Subway took a little longer because that's where the initial burst pipe occurred. But then Aramark got all the approvals that it needed and was able to open it back up on Tuesday at noon.
For more information on this incident, be sure to visit our website at stn2.tv.
And so now it is flu season, and we're going to send it over to STN's Chris DeGray, live in the studio to discuss health services and the flu outbreak on campus. Chris?
Thanks, Rachel. Many students have fallen ill to the flu this year. All students should know the symptoms so that they will know if they have caught it. In past years, the flu virus has been associated with nausea and sore throats. This year, however, other symptoms have been more prevalent.
With that sudden onset of the body aches, some of the cough, and a really bad headache. That's really what we're seeing, and it comes on pretty quick.
If students feel these symptoms, they should go to health services on campus or their primary doctor services. There are many ways students can avoid getting the flu altogether.
But every time you go in with a group, we're just infecting, and more people are going to be sick. So, you want to stay away from people who are ill, and, eat right, get your rest, and, make sure that a lot of hand washing. That's really the best thing you can do for any virus.
Additionally, the university has taken serious precautions to stop the spread of the flu around campus, including quarantining flu-ridden students.
What we're trying to do, if students that do come down with the flu live locally or within, say, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, we're asking actually that they go home.
If a student is unable to go home, health services are asking that these students stay isolated in their room for 5 to 7 days until they are free of the flu virus. The flu vaccine has not been very successful this year, with only a 22% success rating. People who got the vaccine have a lesser case of the flu due to having some of the antibodies in their system. Live in the studio, Chris DeGray, STN Channel 2 News.
In celebration of Black History Month, Associate Professor of Ethnomusicology and Chair of the Humanities Department in Hilliard College, Anthony Rauch, will give a talk on This Little Light of Mine, the Power of Music and Civil Rights. Before the talk, members of the gospel choir will perform 4 songs, and this lecture will focus on discussing the powers of music in connection with the Civil Rights Movement and Martin Luther King, Jr. For anyone interested in going to this event, it will take place on Tuesday, February 17th at noon in the Sweetsman Lounge, and it's free to the public.
The university is celebrating its 58th birthday this year, and there are plenty of events planned for the celebration. The celebration begins at the men's basketball game on the 17th at 7 p.m., featuring a t-shirt giveaway and a student versus faculty knockout game at halftime. On February 20th, the university will be holding a birthday party in Commons from noon to 2, with birthday cake, hot chocolate, music, giveaways, and more. There will also be a photo contest for a chance to win a life-size cutout of President Walter Harrison. Students can take a picture with the cutout, post it to Instagram, and the photos with the most hawk spirit will win. So it's been very cold. It's been very snowy. Many snowbanks on campus are much taller than me, which admittedly is not that hard.
And I hate getting off my car with all that snow all the time.
So, Nicole, there's going to be more snow, isn't there?
Thanks to the snow, we still haven't had a full week of classes in the new year. Can we expect this to continue? And what will the weekend look like? Stay tuned, because weather is next.
We have the details about their move to the capital city.
And 9 students from the University of Hartford Magnet School were sent to the hospital following a bus crash. We'll tell you what happened.
Also, 2 prosthetic limb organizations teamed up with the university's Rehabilitation Sciences program to train students. Stay tuned to 2.
This is the moment I knew. His future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
And now, your STN2 weather forecast.
Welcome to the Weather Desk. I'm Nicole DeMars. It looks like the snow isn't quite done with us yet. After a long week of walking through the slush, we will have more to come. Before we plunge into that, let's take a look at today's forecast. Today, we finally got a break from all the snow that we've been having, and we got a little hint of sunshine. The high was 13 degrees, but the strong wind chill made it feel like a brutal -3. Tonight, it's supposed to drop all the way down to -1. So make sure that you stay indoors as long as you can and try to bundle up. On Saturday, we will be having 25 degrees, and it's supposed to snow about 1 inch during the day, and then from Saturday evening into Sunday around late afternoon, we're going to get between 2 and 4 inches of snow. Sunday, there will also be a lot of wind chill, so it's going to feel much cooler than 25 degrees. Overall, the weekend is going to be very crisp with a lot of very low temperatures and high wind. Next, we're going to take a quick look at the 7-day forecast, and you'll see that Monday we're finally going to get some sun, but don't let that sunshine fool you because it's also going to be one of the coldest days of the week. On Wednesday, we're going to get a little bit more snow, so make sure that you have the right shoes to wear to your class.
You know, I must say, all of the negative numbers on your 7-day are heartbreaking.
I know. There are so many, and the wind chill is just crazy.
I mean, I suppose this is what we get for living in New England in wintertime, but still. Right. Now, if you're looking for something to do while you're stuck inside, we here at STN Channel 2 News want to start sharing our viewers' photos during our weekly news task. So use the hashtag UHAWeekend on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to send us your photos, and we might share them on air and online. And we're going to start the hashtag right now. Say cheese, guys.
Congressman John B. Larson is planning to visit the university to hear from students about issues concerning college affordability and debt. At a similar event held at UConn on February 9th, Larson said, quote, "Change doesn't happen in Washington, D.C. Any great idea starts in places where it's the people that are directly affected by an issue that come together and unite." The event is in the process of being scheduled. We will update you with more when we find out.
This past January, the university teamed up with Limbs International and Manos Hermanos, a non-profit organization that provides prosthetic limbs and training in countries that may not otherwise receive the proper tools to assist amputee patients. Associate Professor of Rehabilitation Sciences Diana Veneri and third-year doctoral students in physical therapy Alyssa Schmidt and Patrick McCollum traveled to Guadalajara, Mexico to participate in a 2-day training session. On day 1, local medical staffs were trained in residual limb care, fitting of prosthetics, exercise, and mobility skills. Day 2 consisted of assessing the progress of prosthetic recipients and fitting patients for custom pieces. Professor Veneri looks forward to working with the organizations again in the future and encourages anyone who would like to donate money to visit their websites. The 2015 Undergraduate Research and Creativity Colloquium will be taking place on Thursday, April 9th from noon to 6:30 p.m. in the Harry Jack Gray Center. Applications are now being accepted for individual or group essays or projects. Submissions in the past have included academic essays, scientific experiments, and engineering projects. Professors are also encouraged to nominate students they feel produce outstanding work. For more information on the colloquium, contact Dr. Donald Jones, the director of the university's honors program.
9 students from the University of Hartford's Magnet School were taken to the Connecticut Children's Medical Center by an ambulance this past Tuesday. When their bus collided with another car, according to police, police said there were 18 students on the way home from school when the accident occurred at the intersection of Asylum Avenue and Scarborough Street in Hartford. The 9 students and the driver of the bus were treated for minor injuries. The cause of the crash remains under investigation.
The City of Hartford announced that on Tuesday, February 17th, a groundbreaking ceremony will be held for the new baseball stadium that will be located in the downtown north section of the city. The new stadium is being built for the New Britain Rockcats, who are relocating to the state capital. The new ballpark is part of the Downtown North Development Project, which will also include a supermarket, restaurants, and a brewery. The ceremony will begin at 1:30 p.m.
Well, if you've ever been interested in the world of television, STN is a great way to check it out. Whether you're interested in producing, advertising, engineering, reporting, photography, directing, graphic design, or sports, we have it all. Stop by our office in Jangers Room 120G and try it out.
Next on 2, 3 students were killed near the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. We'll tell you what happened.
And 2 longtime television anchors are leaving their network, but for different reasons.
Plus, jury selection continues in the trial of the Boston Marathon bomber. Stay tuned to 2.
Make Super Pets. Your new best friend will steal your heart, bring you happiness, and enrich your life for years to come. You can make a difference in the life of an animal. Adopt and bring home a shelter pet today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that! That's disgusting! Oh, poop already! You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
You're watching STN Channel 2 News.
If you have an idea for a story you'd like us to investigate or an event you think we should cover, tell too. You can send us an email to tips@stn2.tv, or you can submit a tip through text message at 860-631-STN2. Also, get all of your campus news updates by following us on Twitter at twitter.com/STN2.
3 people were shot and killed in an apartment near the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill campus on Tuesday, February 10th. The victims have been identified as 23-year-old Day Barakht, 21-year-old Yusor Abu Salah, and 19-year-old Razan Abu Salah. All 3 were Muslim. The suspect, 46-year-old Craig Stephen Hicks, has been charged with murder. Officials recently said that the motive for the attack was over a parking dispute between Hicks and the 3 students. However, the victim's family are asking the police to investigate the case of a possible hate crime. The investigation is still underway.
NBC announced Tuesday that Brian Williams, longtime anchor for NBC Nightly News, has been suspended for 6 months without pay. This move comes after Williams exaggerated a story about being aboard a helicopter that took fire during the Iraq War in 2003. Williams apologized on air and then removed himself from the Nightly News broadcasts last Saturday. Lester Holt, who anchors the weekend editions of the NBC News broadcast, has served as the fill-in anchor for Williams.
On Tuesday, February 10th, Jon Stewart, host of Comedy Central's The Daily Show, announced that he has decided to step down after more than 16 years. Stewart, who could deliver sharp-edged commentary on current events, said on his show, quote, "In my heart, I know it's time for someone else." Stewart said the details of his departure are still being worked out and an exact departure date is yet to be determined.
Despite some snow delays, jury selection in the trial of Boston Marathon bomber Dzhokhar Tsarnaev is underway in Boston. In April of 2013, Dzhokhar and Tamerlan Tsarnaev detonated 2 bombs at the finish line of the Boston Marathon, killing 3 and wounding over 200 others. In the days that followed, the brothers went on the run in the Boston suburbs, killing MIT police officer Sean Collier. Tamerlan died days after the bombing in a shootout with police. Dzhokhar continued running for 3 days before being found in a boat behind a Watertown, Massachusetts home. The then 19-year-old had been a student at UMass Dartmouth, and several of his college friends were tried for helping him conceal evidence. Right now in Boston, jurors are being selected for Dzhokhar's trial. Jurors are being questioned about their feelings on the bombings and about their willingness to administer the death penalty. The Associated Press reports that Judge George O'Toole Jr. questioned a potential juror separately after she showed some sympathy to the now 21-year-old bombing suspect. According to the AP, the woman said her daughter's boyfriend went to high school with Tsarnaev, and it was like, quote, seeing her own child on the stand. Dzhokhar's lawyers have repeatedly campaigned to get his trial moved outside of the Commonwealth, saying he can't get a fair trial, and citing the emotional impact of the bombing on the people of Massachusetts. A federal appeals court has agreed to hold a hearing on a possible change of venue on February 19th, although jury selection will not be suspended during that time. While the death penalty was abolished in Massachusetts in 1984, Tsarnaev is eligible to be put to death because his case is a federal case, not one under the direction of the Commonwealth. 17 of the 30 charges he faces carry the possibility of the death penalty.
In November 2010, a baby girl was born carrying twin fetuses originally thought to be tumors by doctors. The infant underwent surgery to remove them at 2 weeks of age, becoming one of only 200 documented cases ever. Dr. Yu Kai-man, a specialist in obstetrics and gynecology, said, quote, "It was almost impossible to detect during the prenatal checkup as the embryo inside the baby was too small." On Wednesday, the World Health Organization classified this condition as fetus in fetu, has a type of cancer called mature tetraroma.
Cheyenne Jenkins, the fiancée of former New England Patriot Aaron Hernandez, has been granted immunity in his murder trial. Superior Court Judge Susan Garsh made the decision after a petition was filed last month by prosecutors. They say that Jenkins lied to a grand jury dozens of times, and Jenkins has since pleaded not guilty to perjury. The Hernandez trial is expected to resume next week. And so now, it's the point in the show where we send it over to sports director Brendan Madonia. Brendan, what's going on in the world of sports?
Well, funny you should ask, Rachel. We have basketball and so much other stuff. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sports Desk. I'm Brendan Madonia. Coming up, the Hawks men's basketball team took on a strong UNH squad. We have the highlights, plus our own Scott Roberts sat down with Katie Roth. So don't go anywhere, because sports is next.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 88. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy. Oh, and she even talks to it. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
Runner on first base. Now the big guy comes up to bat, hitting .342 with 92 RBIs and 36 homers.
Chill raw
and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
And now, your Channel 2 Sports.
And welcome back. The Gallagher gang was able to end a 4-game losing streak last week against Binghamton. They had a week off as we went up against the UNH Wildcats. Let's go to the highlights. And you see Mark Wakama sitting on the bench. This is his 2nd game he's missed since injuring his knee against Vermont. We start up action early in the second half. UNH up by 1. That's until Justin Graham, not known as a 3-point shooter, knocks down a 3, and Hartford quickly goes up by 2. John Carroll later, he's joining the 3 party, hits this one from beyond the arc, and Hawks already up by 5 with 10 minutes left. But UNH, they're not going down without a fight as Jaleel Smith runs up, puts in the lay-in, and UNH only down by 1 now, 49-48. 35 seconds now left in the second half. Tanner Leisner puts up this awkward shot, but it goes in. UNH now leads up by 1. Now Jolene Smith, he makes 2 more free throws, so Hawks down by 3. Wes Cole hasn't made a shot all game, but he makes it when it counts. Knocks down a 3. We are tied. Remaining seconds left. UNH trying to make this go in, and Tanner Leisner puts up a shot, bounces around the rim, but no good. We head to OT. Now, Hartford down by 2 until YM2. Yolanda Moore knocks down a jumper. Hawks tie it up at 68. Wildcats now go up by 3 thanks to Matt Miller. Justin Graham tries to put up the lay-in, doesn't go in, and Hawks lose this one 76-70. A great back and forth game between these two. Graham with another good game, finishing with 17 points. The most of them came in the second half. Alonzo Moore, though, he leads in scoring. He finished with 18. Now, Tanner Leisner and Matt Miller, they both tied with 16 scored. But Jolene Smith, he finished with 11 points, 10 rebounds. That's his double-double, his first on the season. Now, next up for the men, it's a trip up to Massachusetts as they take on UMass Lowell. And now we're going to take a look at the men's standings. Albany, they're still on top, and they're still perfect, 12-0 record. Now, right behind them is Vermont. They're sitting at 10-2, coming off a 96-53 win over UMass. They also finished with the highest three-point percentage in a D1 basketball game, shooting 76% from beyond the arc. Now, UNH, they improve up to 8-4 after the win. And Stony Brook, they're the last team that's 500 or above with a 7-4 record. Hartford, UMass Lowell, Binghamton, Maine, and UMBC, they all round out the rest of the field. And from the men, we move on to the women, who won 3 in a row before this past weekend. They went up against Maine on Sunday. Let's take a look at the board. And one of the Lady Hawks, that streak comes to an end, losing 63-45. Now, Amber Bepko, she had 18 points in her last game. This game only has 11. Morgan Lum, she came off the bench and scored 10. That was the second most behind Bepko. She also had 3 dimes with that. Sophie Weckstrom led the Black Bears with 17 points and shot 65%. Right behind her was Siggy Kozar, who had 4 assists and 3 steals in the game. Now, UHA had all of this week off. They will take on UMass Lowell, the UMass Lowell Riverhawks this Saturday at 2 p.m. right here at home. And here's a quick look at the AE women's standings. And Albany still on top with an 11-1 record. Right behind them, though, the Black Bears, they're just 1 game behind at 10-1. The loss doesn't really affect Hartford, though. They're sitting in 3rd, tied with Stony Brook with a 7-4 record. And UNH is the last 500 team in 5th with the 6-6 record. After that, the Riverhawks, they have a 4-8 record as they get ready to take on Hartford this weekend. And earlier last month, redshirt juniors Katie Roth announced that she was retiring from the Hawks after tearing her ACL a 3rd time. So what's next for Roth? Well, Scott Roberts has more.
After a tumultuous career filled with highs and lows, Katie Roth is finally calling it a career. The redshirt junior announced her retirement back in January after suffering a 3rd ACL tear in her knee.
I decided first and, talked to them about my decision not trying to go ahead and play anymore, which I think was the right decision for my own safety and my own well-being.
Though the decision was tough for her, Katie says it was always something that was in the back of her mind and even led her to change the way she played on the court.
This last year especially, even though I only played for 1 or 2 months, a lot of my style of play went from, trying to beat people with my physicality to thinking about the game on a more of a mental level.
But Katie's not calling it quits on basketball, finishing out the year in a student assistant role on the team's coaching staff, right next to Coach Rosati. From planning practices to watching game tapes, the Lady Hawks are helping number 22 make that transition as best they can.
You know, with helping me transition into this role, obviously they're very supportive and they want me around still, which is awesome, and I want to help them and I want to be around. So they've been integral in my transition, and they've been really helpful so far in kind of letting me get my feet wet on the coaching side.
Despite the setbacks and rehabs, Katie says she has a lot to be grateful for, and it's thanks to the relationships that she's developed over the years with everyone in the Hawks organization.
Players, past players, staff members, recruits coming in, you know, and it's like, it's really, you know, a lot of places say that they have that family atmosphere, but I think here we really achieve that.
Katie already has a bachelor's degree in communication and has one more year of graduate school remaining. She says after that, it's all up in the air. Scott Roberts, STN Channel 2 Sports.
Thank you, Scott. Now we move on to two sad stories this week in the college basketball world as two great coaches passed away. The first was Dean Smith, who died on Saturday at the age of 83. Smith led the UNC Tar Heels from 1961 to 1997. When he retired, he was the winningest coach in D1 history with 879 wins. He led the Heels to 2 national championships and 11 ACC titles. He coached NBA stars such as Michael Jordan, Larry Brown, Kenny Smith, Jerry Stackhouse, Vince Carter, and Rasheed Wallace. He was also the head coach of the 1976 gold medal winning U.S. Olympic basketball team. The second coach being Jerry Tarkinen, who passed away on Wednesday at the age of 84. Tarkinen, who had health issues for years, built a dynasty at UNLV. Tark the Shark, as some called him, was always seen chewing on towel on the side as he coached the Rebels to a national championship in 1990. He was elected into the Naismith Hall of Fame in 2014. It was also announced on Wednesday that the U.S. Little League champs Jackie Robinson West from Chicago will be vacated of all its wins from the 2014 season. The decision comes after it was discovered that some of the players lived outside of the district boundaries. This is the first time that a team has been stripped of its wins since 2001 when Danny Almonte in the Mid-Atlantic team, when it was discovered that Almonte was too old to play. Mountain Ridge Little League from Las Vegas are now officially the U.S. champs of 2014. And we're going to move on, take a look at the upcoming games here on campus. And well, if you're going to celebrate Valentine's Day, why not go to a women's basketball game as well? 2 p.m. at the Chase Family Arena, the women's basketball team will take on UMass Lowell. And it should be a good one. Really excited, too.
You know, I can say I haven't been to a game this season, so I'm probably going to go hang out and take some pictures. And, of course, we'll have them send it to us with the UHA Weekend hashtag if you're going out to the game. Nicole, it's going to be very, very cold this weekend.
Of course, we're going to get a little bit more snow Saturday to Sunday and very cold wind chill.
Oh, very cold.
But I hope that doesn't deter you from going to Red Cap tryouts. I know that you're going.
Of course, of course.
I'm just really tired of the snow. I want it to be spring already. Have I said that before? I feel like I've said that before too. Like I just want, I mean, I like the snow, but when, like you said, when the buildup of the snow is just so high, it's taller than you. It's just
that being said, it's not that hard. I'm not that tall, so it's not that hard to get the snowbanks taller.
It's taller than me. It's taller than most people I know. It's just, it's starting to become a little too much. I'm tired of clearing off my car too, you know, just constantly. So.
Well, you know, like we said before, it's winter in New England. Now, of course, we did talk about the UHA Weekend hashtag that we're starting with sending us our photos, and we, of course, wouldn't ask you guys to do something we wouldn't do ourselves, so the cast and crew of STN took a few UHA Weekend photos of our own. And so you see here, Johnny and I took our anchor selfie, and Nicole anchoring weather. And of course, again, you take any photos of stuff you're doing over the weekend and send it to us, and we'll post them on air, online. Here's another, our Brendan doing sports, and of our anchor selfie from on air.
I like that. I like that left one. But that's just me. That's just my personal opinion. I like the left one. But not, well, fine. I mean, hey, I'm biased. I'm sorry.
Well, we here at STN would like to throw out a happy birthday to our fellow reporter, Nick Whitfin. Happy birthday, Nick.
Happy birthday. So thank you for tuning in to this week's STN Channel 2 News. I'm Rachel Sisto.
And I'm Johnny Wade.
We'll see you here next week.